It was a fantastic world. I had 4 wonderful years at Harvard, came out to California after Harvard, and it's sort of interesting, helped start Kaiser, Kaiser hospitals in Northern California. Kaiser had already begun hospitals and medical care in Southern California, and they were opening something in San Francisco and Marin. And I helped open Kaiser in Northern California. And it was wonderful. I became incidentally at Harvard, it was rather interesting. At Harvard Medical School, I became interested in children. You took different courses for 3 or 4 months at a time. I became children who had various diseases, and one of them was a disease. Well, kids got all sorts of things, and one of them was because of a plant that they got infected by, and they would die in 3 or 4 months. And I became very interested, and when I got out of Cornell, when I got out of Harvard, and started Kaiser in Northern California, I became a cancer specialist. At that time, we knew nothing about cancer, nothing. This was 1503. You weren't even thought of by that time. 1503. And I was the first oncologist, called an oncologist, the first oncologist at Kaiser. And now I was an oncologist there I set up the oncology program and was the head of the executive committee for a long time. But now there are about 45 or 50 small Kaisers all through Northern California. And about 35 of them are run by the kids that I raised, essentially, or I taught oncology, cancer. And they were the cancer specialists, and some of them were so bright that they became the heads of little hospitals. Kaiser has set up many little hospitals all over Northern California. Anyway, so after a while, I started collecting plants. There's something that happens. You never forget what you did as a child. I was busy at Kaiser and did all sorts of things there, and suddenly set up a home care program for kids and parents. Rather than they stay in hospitals, I took a group of my doctors with me and spent 2 afternoons a week visiting them at home and treating them and talking to them. It was an entirely different world for them. In the hospital, they didn't know what to do, so they were very reserved and frightened. At home, they were cheerful. They were able to communicate, and it was a marvelous world. And one day, I started collecting plants, but one day, one of my patients said, "Dr. Schwartz, you mentioned that you love to collect plants. I want to show you my garden." He took me out to his backyard, and there was a small enclosure, and he meticulously taken care of about 200 or 300 plants. And that sort of stimulated me, and I decided that I would have a botanical garden of my own where I could collect plants around the world. Sooner or later I'd get around the world and collect plants and grow them. And this is the result of it. I moved out here, met Bill Niman, who was raising hogs on this property, and the hog barn is still there, that little barn, and in the house he had horses, and he lived down below. Anyway, he had it for sale since his wife died. She fell off a horse and died, and had been on sale for about 6 years. But in 1968 to 1972 or so, no one was interested in buying. It was a very poor society, and so I walked around with him for a few minutes and said, "How much do you want for this place?" That set him back considerably. Finally, he gave me a price, and I said, "I'll take it." We've been the best of friends ever since. He still had the hogs there for another year, but my wife didn't like the hogs. They were wonderful, but women are a little different. And so he moved across the highway, rented 200 acres, and we became the best of friends, and continued until this very day, about 24, 25 years now. And we're now partners in something called Niman Ranch. Have you heard of Niman Ranch?
Yeah.
We started Niman Ranch. One of my sons was his first curator. You get the picture, and here we are. We got rid of, Leah couldn't stand the hogs, although they were so beautiful. We had the barn full of them, and they wandered all over the place, making a mess of everything, But, so that's a little history for you. And now the whole place is full of plants, no hogs, but lots of people coming on invitation. And there's a brief history of, it's a little more complicated than that, but you got at least a review of what went on. Did you record all? I have I have a special talent. I know exactly what I like, and it's usually high quality, and I'm very careful about selecting things that mean something to me and are attractive to me. This is my evaluation of practical living. This is why I support everything that I do by investments and the books that I publish. My investments are all in innocent things like research outfits, research companies doing technologic studies, mostly cancer therapy and so on, which is a fantastic world now. And it has supported all sorts of things like this, including my publishing, which now supports everything, including a lot of friends of mine. I don't have any talents, I don't wiggle my ears, but I'd like to. Okay, my family, I've got Leah and myself, and my wife is my resident genius. She's an artist, the likes of which, have you ever seen her books?
Yeah.
You've seen her books and her paintings. She's an artist that is absolutely fantastic, creative, and has posters and books that are absolutely fantastic. And the latest book is on Marin and Bolinas, by the way. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
I'll show it to you in the house. And I'm doing another book of hers every 3 or 4 months of subjects that she has. In the original book that I did, Leah Schwartz, there were maybe 30 or 40 paintings of specific 9 or 10 different periods of her painting. But beyond that, she had 150 to 200 paintings. And I'm putting all the paintings together in separate books now, every 3 or 4 months.